Hey everybody, this is Sean Adams. I am your Infusionsoft Hangout guy here for the Bay Area, and we are here to get started. Hopefully, you guys can come in and join me for a little bit. Right now, I'm going to actually just get a little work done for the next 4 minutes. I just want to let you know that we are here and live. So go ahead and join the Hangout by clicking the We Are Live Click Here button below this video. Or just pop a message in the chat to the right and just let me know what's going on. Either way, perfect, works for me. And I think that's all we need. So I'm going to just take care of a couple more emails before we are done. And I look forward to seeing you guys and talking a little bit of Infusionsoft stuff. Okay, cheers. Oh, actually, yeah, that works. I'm just going to send a couple more emails while we wait till the top of the hour and wait for folks to join us. But like I said, go ahead and I prefer you join the Hangout by clicking the We Are Live Click Here button right below this video, or to that side, I think it is the chat. Go ahead and drop a chat box and just let me know you guys are here. But for the next 3 or 4 minutes, I'm just going to reply to a few more emails. I was just at a conference, want to make sure I get in my responses because follow-up is key. watching? No viewers yet. All right. Hi, everybody. It is 6 o'clock, and I am Sean Adams, and I am here to run this Hangout. Usually this Hangout is available to anybody who wants to join us. It's going to be an open Q&A is how I usually do it. And part of what I want to do today to make life a little easier is I'm going to do a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation just to give everybody a little bit of just something to think about when you're thinking about using Infusionsoft and all the benefits of Infusionsoft. But I'm going to go over kind of some things that everybody needs to think about first before they go in depth into Infusionsoft. And this is a presentation I give whenever I'm on stage. It's the exact presentation I give whenever I'm on stage to introduce people to the concept of Infusionsoft and helping them to understand why. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just let everybody see a little bit. If you pop on, say hello. I also have the window where we have the chat box available as well. But right now I'm going to go ahead and actually first, because I am slacking in my Hangoutlandia, is I forgot to put my lower third on, and what kind of Hangout guru would I be if I didn't have a lower third showing up? So let me go ahead and pop my lower third on here, assuming they show up. Come on, where are my saved presets? Okay, maybe I won't be posting it. I used to have a lower third that was there, but great. Do that. Not super sexy, but it works. You know, it's part of the world of Hangouts. Now I will go ahead and share my screen with everybody so you guys can see the presentation that I want to go over. And here, nope, that's not the right one. That's the one. Here's that presentation that I usually go over. Just to give people a little bit of general overview of what's going on and what you can do. So this is the presentation I give. It's really simple, and I'm sharing this with you because you should use the same content because it gives people a good view of what's going on in the world of social media or in the world of Infusionsoft and why it's important. So I begin by giving everybody a little bit of experience. I have been an international speaker and trainer, trained over 10,000 people on 3 different continents, best-selling author, plus a lot of other things that have to do with education and knowledge. I'm giving the quick version of this, by the way, everybody, just so you know. And then I go into what are the 2 keys to business success. You've got to know what you offer, and then the client experience. A lot of you can just talk about the client experience and use the client lifecycle that Infusionsoft teaches instead of having to worry about also teaching them how to figure out their what they offer. I happen to have a little bit of extra knowledge in the world of building that out, so that's fine. So I'm just going to give a little bit extra here. And what I talk about is funnel development with folks. And you can get a blank version of this at that link. And I just talk about how to identify your products. What are your products? What is it that you offer? And I can just kind of go through. For me, tier 1, my tier 1 are twofold. It's either a free webinar or free ebooks, both of which you can actually get most of from Infusionsoft to help market the business. And then I have some online courses that I offer, which is tier 2, which I usually charge $49 for. Tier 3 is group coaching. I don't even do one-to-one coaching anymore. I do group coaching, and that's about $119. Tier 4, I have a do-it-yourself program where I give them an Infusionsoft app and a couple other things, as well as help set up their campaigns for them so that they then can edit the campaigns and kind of run with it once I give them a basic kickstart training for Infusionsoft. And that usually runs around, that's usually say $497 a month, because what that does is covers the cost of doing of their Infusionsoft app and also my time for helping to do the training. And it's an ongoing monthly fee. That way you get some recurring income, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, Dr. Allen, how are you? I just saw you pop in. I'm just going through a little presentation. I'm happy to go ahead and pause. I want to see. I'm going to go ahead and pause the presentation, and let's just chat, Dr. Allen, and see how things are going for you and where things stand. How are you doing?
You're talking about me?
Or Dr. McCall, sorry. I called you Dr. Allen, didn't I?
That's right. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
How's everything working for you right now? I've been seeing you posting on social media lately, so that's good.
Trying to do that. Yeah, trying to do that, but just trying to kind of gear up with starting to figure out how to start leveraging on the front end to start growing the list and getting people into the funnel.
Okay. What's the chat? So just to give everybody a quick overview with Dr. Meikle, we've built a couple campaigns for him, and he's got a system where they come in, they get some free information, they get offered continuing education courses, which then lead to more upsells to basically hire him to help them create what they do, because he works with people who are involved with aging investors. And so it's just what he does is very valuable and very important, but he's talking about how do I get the right people who need my services interested and know that I'm existing out there. Is that right?
It's exactly right. So it's really, we can identify who our avatar is, who our target market is, but it's really then identifying out on the internet, where do these people hang out and what's the best way to be able to draw them in. Obviously, one way is organic, using content and being able to direct them to our goods and services. But the other is looking at, realistically, are there opportunities to do advertising, keywords, et cetera, to be able to bring them in.
And that's important. And part of that is experimentation. And part of that is just figuring out what are going to be the right keywords that are going to get people's attention. Have you been doing any of the Facebook advertising lately, or not yet?
I haven't jumped into doing that, in that I started to design an ad and had done some really good work, I thought, in looking at who are the target market and what would be their interests, et cetera. And then all of a sudden the Facebook thing froze and I lost all my work. And so I backed off from doing it. But I would love to see if I can leverage Facebook. But I'm thinking more and more, as I told you in the past, that I think that professional people are going to respond, I think, more favorably if there are ways to better leverage them, particularly in applications or like LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I think LinkedIn, we've talked about this, and because of your ideal client are basically, and you can help me out with this, but they're kind of they're professionals in the world of helping people with investments and money.
Right. They're financial planners. They're financial advisors. They call them retirement specialists, wealth managers, all that.
And so just to give people an idea and an understanding, here's my quick 5 minutes of overview in the world, not even 5 minutes, probably 10 seconds of overview in the world of social media. Facebook is good for the general public. Twitter has its own unique following, but it takes a lot of you having to be involved and aware and focused. And LinkedIn really is the business-to-business platform that's out there. There's other platforms out there. If you're somebody who's got a lot of different products and it's heavily visual, Pinterest is probably your better bet. But for what Dr. Meikle does, and because his ideal client is another business professional, LinkedIn is probably your best bet. So I agree with you on that. And we've talked about this numerous times, that LinkedIn is probably your best bet because it is business to business. And so we know that it's financial planners, and we know that it's those money people. And so I think you're right when you're saying looking into LinkedIn. Sorry, I just had a semi-emergency pop up that I'm addressing. Okay. And I'm going to be completely honest. I'm yet to hear anybody successfully using LinkedIn paid ads in a way that's actually got a decent return of value. Like Facebook ads, we know can work. LinkedIn, I just don't know if they've figured out that equation yet. So I think what's important is that how can you leverage LinkedIn without having to worry about doing it in a paid ads way. And how many followers do you have in LinkedIn? How many people are you connected to?
Probably 10,000.
Which is fabulous. Most people don't have that many connections in LinkedIn, so that's fabulous. And so part of it is, I mean, and you and I have talked this, but I'm also doing this for anybody else who's watching or who might watch the replay of this Hangout, Dr. Meikle. So that's why I'm doing a little bit of education that you and I have already discussed, just so you're aware. But people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And so Dr. Meikle has a ton of quality content and knowledge and wisdom and information that he can share and do to help people. And so he's got to get that information out. But then the big piece he's been running into is, how do I also, when I'm sharing beneficial information, what's that CTA or call to action that's going to get them to actually take the next step? And he's lucky in that in the world of financial planners, they have to have something which are called CEUs, or continuing education units. And Dr. Meikle happens to have 6 courses that are CEU credits. So he has something they need, but he needs to make them know it's something they need. And so he's got to find a way to consistently post inside LinkedIn so that people are interested and excited about what he's doing, but also are know that he has something for them to take the next step. And that's why the entry point we talked about was the CEU courses, because it's something they need, it's something he can deliver, and it's a great way to let them know that the knowledge they have is beneficial, and it's just enough information to scare them enough to need more of what he offers. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So this is the idea. This is important, is that you've got to know who your ideal client is. He knows it's financial planners, especially financial planners who are working with people who are, let's say 45 and older.
Yes, of course.
Because because of what he works with, and he works with aging investors and how to deal with your aging investors. He wants financial advisors who work with older clients, because they are the aging investors, and there's a lot of stuff that they need to be aware of and be on top of that they may not know, but Dr. Meikle does and is able to give them that knowledge. So he knows his ideal client. How active have you been in the world of LinkedIn in kind of searching for financial planners and interacting on LinkedIn without you posting your own stuff, just on LinkedIn, just as a participant interacting with folks on LinkedIn?
Not as much as I'd like to, but I have done some of it. And in fact, I got a fairly substantial speaking engagement out of reaching out to someone that I saw was an active person on LinkedIn that was doing the kind of public speaking that I wanted to do, and reached out to the person and connected with them. And that netted, as I said, a fairly substantial 2 national speaking gigs that we did last year in Florida. So I know it's doable. I just think, as you've said before, it takes a level of discipline of doing it on a regular basis and logging that in.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that it was beneficial, because that also helps reinforce the desire to keep doing it.
Yep.
But I think one of the things that's important, and I'm once again, just from an educational perspective, I kind of have 2 rules in the world of social media. One is 50-50 and one is 90-10. The 50-50 rule is half your time on your chosen social media platform or platforms should be interacting on other people's site, contributing to their community. And that's the kind of thing we were just talking about. And then the other half of your time should be contributing, like growing your own community by posting on your own stuff, interacting with people who are interacting with you in your own community. And so that would be the piece that I would highly recommend you focus in on, is that first 50%, because it is lucrative. They start to see that you're an expert, especially if somebody posts something and you're able to either respond or ask a really insightful question or answer a question somebody has. It's a way of establishing yourself as an expert and borrowing other people's communities to do that. But you don't sell in their communities, you just contribute beneficial knowledge to their communities. Then the 90-10 rule is when you're working on your own stuff, in your own brand, your own community, 90% of that should be educational, beneficial, and only 10% of that should be promotional. So all those equations kind of have to get played out in order for you to see that it's working, but it does work out very well. And I think that would be my recommendation for you, Dr. Meikle, is to make a point of really pushing setting, even if it's setting aside just 30 minutes a day, where you hop on LinkedIn and you 15 minutes of that is interacting on other people's community, financial planners, posts, people that you're connected with, and just contributing to the growth of their community. And it doesn't mean just clicking like. You need to actually participate with them.
Mm-hmm.
And sharing their items is really good. Commenting is very good. And then the other 15 minutes, spend some time posting your latest article, or you have so much content. You have enough to be able to post every day for a year, probably, within LinkedIn. And just continuing to do that and making sure when you post that people know that you're like, just establish yourself as an expert. You've got to grow your following first before your following will take action. And that growing piece is the heart. It's growing pains. It's like any other thing. So I think that's probably most important for you.
Got it. No, I think that's good advice.
Yeah, and I think that'll make the biggest difference for you, because this is kind of what I was going to go over, and I'll do a quick screen share as well. We won't talk about funnel development, but what we will talk about is the other piece that I was going to get to, which is the client lifecycle. This is Infusionsoft content. I just teach it, and they talk about the 3 main categories, which is attract, sell, and wow. And in the first one, and these 9 categories are all important. If you're not doing any of them, you're going to lose money. And so Dr. Meikle clearly knows his target market. We're talking about how to attract interest, because he's got a way to collect leads, and that's by having an opt-in for people to learn more about the CEUs or even access the CEUs, or he's got some other free items that he can give away to collect leads. So right now we're just talking about the attract interest. And the way to do that is LinkedIn, financial planners contributing to their communities in a beneficial way. That makes a world of difference, because once he's got the leads, he's educating them. They get put into a nurture sequence that he has, which is educational emails that are going out on a regular basis. And built into those are offers, either for the CEUs or for some of the other products he has. And they can buy the CEUs right online, which closes things very quickly. And then he delivers, and his CEUs are just chock full of very, very beneficial content. So somebody's getting what they need, which is CEU credits, and they're also getting more than they expect, because what they deliver is beyond what you would usually expect in a CEU class. And so he's delivering and wowing. And then he has a nurture sequence, or he's got an upsell campaign, I should say, that's developed after that. So after they've done one, they get the chance to enroll in the other 5 over time, or do some of the other higher price products with it. So he's got the offer more. And then we haven't talked about referrals, but that idea of like, if you've loved what I've done for you, do you know anybody else who can benefit from this as well? And so it was a perfect time to segue into the 9 stages of the client lifecycle. I'll just go through them again, which is target market, attract interest, collect leads, educate, offer, close, deliver and wow, offer more, and get referrals. And the reason that's so important is because it lets you be able to keep in touch with all of your people depending on where they're at. And right now, where Dr. Meikle's at is that attract leads section. He's got to be able to find out how to get in front of more eyeballs. He's got a really good, strong following in LinkedIn, but how many of them are actually reading his articles? And what happens in the world of any social media is, if you don't post for a while, if you don't interact for a while, what happens is people stop following you. They stop reading your stuff because they don't see it. But if you're in front of them every day, if you post every day, they start to see that you're giving value. They're excited about what you're posting, and they hunt you down instead of the luck of the draw of passing in front of them. They're like, oh my God, like every day, Dr. Meikle's giving me value. I'm going to go see what he's got today. They will find him. And then it leads to him collecting leads and doing all those other things. But he's got to attract the interest. And it's not just his 10,000 that he's connected to, but it's getting out in front of that second connection of those. Like, those 10,000 people might know 1,000 each. And if he can interact even with 10 of those people on a regular basis, and they have 10 active people, now he's talking about 100 new people who know he's an expert because he's been interacting on other people's pages in a beneficial, educational, contributing manner. And so that's the piece I think that's missing for you, Dr. Meikle. I think that's the piece you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've also figured that it may be time to look at other individuals that can just do that for me and hire that.
I don't I have a person who takes care of my social media for me because I don't want to do it. And there are a lot of valuable people out there that are very good at social media. I'll give you the card for I ran across I think it's out in my, let me see if I have it here even. I was funny. I was just going through some cards and doing some responses from a bunch of events that I've been at recently. No. So I've got one here that I'll put into the Hangout chat,
Okay.
which is, I'll give you her email. Her name is Italina, and she's kind of a she's kind of a LinkedIn expert. And I thought I might have another one, but I don't think I do. Let me just quickly do a scan. And you know what? I'll also give you the contact for the person that I love for just overall social media, who I partner with for my clients when I have a done for you process where they get all their social media done for them and I don't do it. I just outsource to this other person. So I'm going to put that information in the chat for you right now, Dr. Meikle, just so you have them.
Thanks.
So we have, and that I'm just going to give you their emails so you can just kind of shoot them. I'll give you email and phone number.
Perfect.
And all I would say is let them know that I'm the one that I referred you to them. I don't know if pricing is going to be right for you. I don't know if how they offer it's going to be right for you, Dr. Meikle. But at least it's a chance for, it's two contacts that you can start with. The first one I just gave you, who's Italina, she's great in the world of, she does a lot of presenting on LinkedIn and how to maximize LinkedIn. And then the next one I'm going to give you is, her name is Helena. She's with the company I love, which is Gale, Not Limited Social Media. And it happens, Gail Knott's the owner and a friend of mine. And Helena's one of her contacts, but Helena's great. She would also be somebody who could be very good for helping you out.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to give you that contact too. I would give them a call, let them know that I referred you to them.
Okay.
Just so you know. And then and just have a conversation with them and let them know where you're at, what you're trying to do, and see if what they offer matches who you are. And and this is true for anybody when you're thinking of outsourcing to somebody else. You've got to make sure that they are right fits for you. So take the time, interview them, ask as many detailed questions as you can, check them out online, do your research, because you want to make sure that they're a right fit, because they're ultimately going to be representing you online, and you want to make sure they're going to do it in a way that is congruent with you and your business.
Got it. And if I can steal your thunder for a second, I'd love to put in the plug for you if you'd like a quick testimonial.
Yeah, I'll always take a quick testimonial. That would be great. Thank you.
I've been in business for about 42 years. I've had multiple different kinds of businesses. Primarily the last 10 years, I've had 2 internet businesses, and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on experts over the last 10 years. And my experience thus far of the experts that I've hired is that they've been really good in setting some very high watermarks of what they're able to deliver, and very, very poor at actually getting very close to what the expectations were. And with you, Sean, you were just a breath of fresh air in that, you set the standards high, and it went beyond that. And just as a consumer, I think that the thing that I appreciated the most is that you went well and beyond what we agreed that you were going to deliver. And if I asked for something because I ran into some problems, what I didn't get, which was what I've gotten in the past, oh, well, yeah, well, that's a whole different thing. That'll cost you another $1,000 or whatever. You, Sean, jumped right to it. And even when I offered to try to pay you for it, you were very, very kind about that. So I think you're a great businessman, but even more important, what I really do respect is that you're a man of your word and that you've got great integrity.
Well, thanks, Dr. Meikle. And I enjoyed working with you. I loved what we were doing. I thought it was great. And this is, going back, I'm going to go back to what we talked about. And the client lifecycle, it's not deliver, it's deliver and wow. You have to be able to over deliver on what it is that you offer. And so I'm glad you feel like I did that, because that's my goal every time I work with any client. So I'm glad that was worked out for you. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad it was beneficial. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I love what you're doing. I think what you're doing is very important. And so I'm very glad that we have the stuff in place to make it work for you.
Thank you. And it's really time to take it to the next level. And obviously, you're my go-to guy in terms of helping to direct me on how to do that. So I very much appreciate the leads that you're giving me.
Yeah, and I think they're both great. Like I said, I personally work with Gail, not social media, not limited social media. They're the ones I personally use, so I'm just saying that because I'm transparent. But also, I've had many interactions with Italina. I've seen her speak on the world of LinkedIn especially, and she's got some great skill there. So I think either of those could be fantastic for you. Just find the one that's going to be the right fit for you.
Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Anything else you wanted to talk about? We've been going for 30 minutes. I think this has been beneficial information for anybody who might watch a replay of this. Is there anything you wanted to ask or anything that you had questions for tonight?
The only one question, actually, the only one suggestion that I did want to add that came up just recently was how I think it's very critical that if you're going to use Infusionsoft and you're going to use their e-commerce site and you're going to direct sales directly to their shopping cart, how it's critical that you make sure that you create a campaign that's specific if people are going to not come through, let's say, a funnel. Like if you were directing them to, say, a lead page where you're opting in and capturing and then directing them through the funnel. I found that a gap that I didn't think about was, well, what if you have a buy now button on your web page and you're circumventing having them go through an opt-in system where they go into a funnel? You're going to miss those potential leads that are going to buy your product, but you have no then opportunity to be able to harvest those leads or upsell them or whatever. So that's the thing I'm now directing, is looking at some of the gaps that we missed in that process where they're going to circumvent the wonderful funnels that we've built because they may go direct.
Yeah, and what's nice about what we built is if they buy one of your CEUs, they automatically get put into the rest of the CEU campaign and the upsells. And so I'm going to go back and just kind of share this from a client lifecycle perspective, just to help people get what you're asking and what you're saying. So we're talking about the client lifecycle, and you've got your first three steps of target market, attract lead, collect leads, educate, and offer, and then close. And what Technical's talking about is the fact that, like, sometimes people will come in at the sixth step. And what are you doing to do that? Like, once they've closed and they've paid, what's happening? They may get the product that you've offered. So you have to have a campaign or some way of delivering that product effectively. But this is the piece where most people are failing, is the offer more. There's got to be something happens after every product that kicks them into, I just have a single upsell campaign. So it doesn't matter what they've bought. They still get a chance to understand all of the other things I have available, but you want to make sure they have somewhere else they can go. So if you don't have a clear offer more or upsell campaign, you're going to lose those people after they bought a single product. And so I get what you're saying, and I think that's the thing to keep in mind, is this offer more piece really does make the difference in keeping customers, because it's a lot easier to keep a customer than it is to get a new customer. But if they come in at such a high point in the customer life cycle, you still need to be able to make sure that you're still touching with them. And that's why all 9 of these pieces have to be interconnected, and you can't be missing one of these pieces, otherwise you're going to run into trouble.
Yep.
And so we definitely did it effectively for the CEUs to kick them into the upsells, no matter which CEU they come in on. But I know, like, if somebody buys one of your videos or one of the other things, they kind of just went off into, at best, the nurture sequence. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing to keep in mind, everybody, is you can have that every campaign you do, doesn't matter what it is, every single campaign either has a tag that gets applied at the end of the campaign to kick them into your nurture sequence, or what I prefer to do from just a good business practice model is there's always an email in every campaign that says, if you'd like to get more information, subscribe to our newsletter, our informational email list, whatever you're calling it, and letting them opt into that opportunity to consistently get touches from you. And I personally love having that newsletter, that nurture sequence list pre-built and just rolling out there and done, instead of having to then write a newsletter and send out a broadcast to that tag. If you roll one out, you know, especially if you know your business well enough, you can have just 12 topics that are cyclical annually, and they get one email a month from you. They still get touches from you. You're still giving them value information, but you can build that ahead of time up front, and it just makes your life easier. But you want every other campaign, no matter where they come in the 9 stages, they always get back into the educate one, and the educate one always has links to upsells, new products, whatever it might be, so that they stay in the loop with you for as long as possible. And any campaign that you have where you're delivering a product also needs to have some way of asking them for the referral. That's another piece I don't know if we built in super well in yours, and we probably should have, was some email or two that says, do you know anybody else who can benefit from this information? If so, copy and paste what's below, and all it is a simple little email, and send it out to that person. Asking for the referrals can change your business. And I think that's a piece that should get added into your campaigns, Dr. Meikle, is that ask for referrals email somewhere along the line.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're missing any of those stages, and if you don't have all 9 stages interconnected, people drop off, and you're wasting money, because it costs a lot more time and money to get a new client than it does to sell a current client on something new. So you've got to keep them in your loop. Even if you don't have anything else to offer them yet, keep them in nurture until you do, and then pop in that offer somewhere within the nurture sequence so they get the opportunity to learn more. But you got to have them all interconnected. Otherwise, you are going to run into that problem of people just disappearing after a single buy.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it's a fabulous problem to have people randomly find stuff on your site and buy from you without you doing anything. That's my favorite kind of, I mean, that's always awesome. But you don't want to lose them if that happens.
Agreed.
So I think, and it can be solved really simple by a single email at the end of each campaign, or just a tag to get them into the nurture sequence, something along those lines, so you don't lose them.
Good. Thanks. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Signing off. So, thanks very much for the evening, though, sir.
Of course. Glad to have you here. It's always good to see you. Thanks for the testimonial. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Cheers. Okay, everybody. So that I'm going to wrap up too at the yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up too as well. I hope you guys got some valuable content out of that information. The chat was good. It gave you kind of a live bit of coaching, a live understanding of how to deal with it in a real live business. And if you've got questions on this page, there's ways to contact me. I look forward to hearing from you folks. Remember, the first Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be here on this Hangout. And then the third Wednesday of every month from 1 to 3 p.m., we do a live Infusionsoft group meeting here in Martinez. So keep an eye on your emails. Make sure you reach out if you have any questions, and I will keep in touch with you guys soon. All right. Cheers.